Welcome back to Mind on Bears, where football meets real Bears fans. Today, we'll be breaking down the latest Chicago Bears press conference from the news with Caleb Williams, with his progress, and Ben Johnson's offensive vision. Overall, it's not looking like just another season. It's definitely looking like it's about building dynasties. So let's go ahead and get into it. Without further ado, let's hit that beat, baby. What is good, everyone? How's it going? It's that dude, the Mind of Murdoch. We are here with the Mind on Bears news. I hope y'all been enjoying yourselves. We are here with the new football season. It's about roster updates, key position battles, and so much more. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what this season has. Ben Johnson and the Bears, we've had some key additions throughout the season. We signed all of our rookies, and I'm very happy to hear that we signed our rookies because that means the future is truly what we see it as. So all we got to do is execute. Caleb Williams seriously talked about building a dynasty, not just a winning season, but something to sustain, multiple seasons. Caleb Williams is being coached to make quicker decisions, to make more decisive things, less hesitation, make sure that he has the confidence in all the movements that he has to do with every single play that he executes out there. Plays are being designed for more on the rhythm, on the go, to kind of make it more faster tempo. They want to make sure that it's up and out. At times, we all know Caleb Williams definitely held that ball a bit too much, and we were like, yo, throw the ball. But I understood. He had that Superman in him. He had that young guy in him, as he liked to say. And, he really wanted to make sure he can do something with the plays that was given to him. So that's why he was extending the plays. So now it's a situation where certain plays will most likely be extended, and then other plays will just be what they are. The foundation is set, but now it's about really refining the details overall. If they can refine the details, then that's something that, overall the Bears, I think, can have the best when executing throughout those live reps and the competition throughout the training camp time. Because training camp, this is the time not to ramp up like we had with Grady Jarrett. It's not about ramping up. It's about already being ready. It's about seeing who is ready. So then you can go ahead and execute, and you can do a lot more. In some of the roster moves, the cornerback room actually had an update. They had what's his name, Trey Flowers. He got signed onto the team, and sad to say, we did hear about Jalen Johnson. So Jalen Johnson, right after having an interview with Kay Adams on her show, sad to say, it seems like he's out for the preseason. But one thing I will say, just between me and you Bears fans, I think that this was planned. I think Jalen Johnson is like, look, man, I got this. Let me do what I'm doing and let me prove myself. You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. So they decided to say, well, say you're injured. That's the only way we're going to have you out of here. But we believe in you at the end of the day. That's weird, but I can see that definitely happening because a lot of times the focus is depending on the, consistency of players. And that's the biggest thing that Ben Johnson wanted. He said, look, it's about consistency. Every single play matters. Everything we do in the next 3 weeks will matter. That's how we're going to figure out our offensive line, how we're going to do on the left tackle side. If we're going to keep Braxton Jones out there, we're going to move on with Magaji, or possibly put the rookie in, see Ozzy out there, Trapillo. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing any of those guys out there because you want to see development and you want to see more. Braxton Jones, he has a name that I gave him, Bad Back Braxton. And it's not that I believe his actual back is bad. It's just he gets stood up a lot. They stand him up, and he gets stood straight up and his back goes straight and flat, and then they just do whatever they want to get around him. It doesn't become realistic. The camp is for a reality check. What we're expecting from it. We're not thinking it's going to be a straight line of progression. The coach warned that there will be struggles, bumps in the road, certain things that you might have some issues with, because he's going to try to put a lot out there for certain players that are supposed to be able to execute, veterans like Braxton Jones. So do what you got to do, and then with the rookies, they're trying to see if they can compete. It's all about competing. It's all about seeing what he actually has as a team. Ben Johnson doesn't know these players, so he has to figure out exactly what he wants to do. And that starts with tough practices. Very tough practices are coming. Extremely tough practices are coming. The team will be testing their physicality and their mentality throughout this whole thing. So that's going to be a huge point. And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what the team can do when it comes down to that, because a lot of times there's not much depth to it. They can't really execute how they need to. So as long as you guys are kind of testing each other, whether it's verbally and mentally, well, physically, verbally, mentally, whatever. That's what you need sometime. You need that depth, and Grady Jarrett was a player that definitely said that too. You might have to talk stuff to Caleb every now and then. And I hope some of y'all down there in the comments definitely agree. You got to talk stuff to your quarterbacks. You got to, show them, hey, you're not going to do that again. You ain't going to do it's not going to be that easy. It ain't gonna be that easy. You got to give them that type of energy, just a little bit. Experience across the staff is what they want to pay off overall. So he's looking from things from his staff to Dennis Allen. Overall, you're looking for them to execute as much as they did previously and then some, especially with their new positions. Some of them were fired. Some of them, just moved on to better teams, i.e. the Bears. But yeah, it's just something that they really got to definitely work on. There was a lot of talk about, what they want to do in general when it comes down to the camp, how they're going to do it, how many reps, who's going to play in training camp. I mean, who's going to play in those training camp practices against those other teams that we have coming up. So that's definitely going to be very interesting to see. I know that we have the Hall of Fame game coming up, so definitely look forward to those highlights and that reaction when that comes out. So make sure you smash that like and subscribe. And overall, we're looking for improvements in the offensive line as Bears fans. The Bears fans ourselves, we have a lot of notes for the preseason. When it comes to who starts, that's the biggest thing on the line. We're really trying to make sure Caleb Williams been working as much behind the scenes as much as we can see it in front of us. And all that means is, has he been doing his homework? Caleb Williams himself said he has homework. His homework was, he wants to try to personally be, and Ben Johnson equated with this as well. If he could possibly be 70% or more, passer this year, 4,000 plus passer this year, so on and so forth. Just sharing little goals here and there. And they're not extremely lofty either. It's lofty for Chicago Bears. The media has something messed up when it comes down to Caleb Williams. Bears fans love and appreciate what we're about to get possibly from Caleb Williams and this Chicago Bears team because of the fact that we know what we've had as Bears fans, not in the NFL. So when we're comparing Caleb, we're not comparing him to the rest of the NFL, quarterbacks that much. I don't believe we really are. We're comparing him to all the past Chicago Bears quarterbacks, and we're like, wow, we got something. We got something. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to have something. The message was everything is going to matter. Period, point blank. Every rep, every mistake, every improvement. That's what you need. Every single thing. And that's what I liked about it. Because at the end of the day, you're holding people accountable. And accountability means a lot when it comes down to making a team and, kind of figuring out what you got to do, The next few weeks are still extremely critical, as we know, just to make sure that we can find out the identity of the roster. It's very unclear what full team will play, as I've stated before. So they're trying to see exactly how they can structure the preseason and I should say like mid-season woes. You get what I'm saying? So when you're within the season, what team would you like to run within the season against a certain team, I should say, against a certain level of competition. And then you can say, okay, this person can rest here. This person, we need them at this time. This person, we need them for this, and so on and such. That's kind of the biggest thing right now. They're trying to figure out where everybody goes at the end of the day. That's really the biggest thing. So it's the spring prep and the play calling overall. Play calling was about learning how they'll call the plays in general. Caleb Williams was doing that with his homework, trying to make sure cadence is the biggest thing. Cadence. If you can develop cadence and you can get things, more or less done, it works out. It makes it that you don't have to necessarily worry about too much. When you don't have to worry about too much, then guess what? You know, it's nothing but good times. That's how I feel at the end of the day. It's definitely good times because you have more from what we've seen with Eberflus. Last few years with Eberflus' staff, most of them they didn't really have that much of a blueprint. Our blueprint this year is to try to build a dynasty. A lot of players, Jaquan Brisker, during his interview, he brought up that the coaching staff sounds different. It feels different, meaning it is different. A lot of players are saying it is different. Now, whether that's a good or a bad thing, we will find out the results. We will see exactly what happens. But at the end of the day, if we can account on the leadership to amount to overcoming any injuries or anything like that, then it really works out big time for us because the strategies overall within camp become more clear of what we need to do as Bears fans to, kind of appreciate our team more and also support them properly. Bears fans, sad to say, Bears media at times doesn't know how to appreciate what you do have when you have something better than what you used to. They love to compare other things to what you have now just because you have something now. So they want to say, oh, this is nice, but it's just not as good as that. And it's like, damn, can you at least be okay with what we have? You know? So my biggest thing right now would be to ask you all, what stood out from the Bears, press conference? What are you all thinking from it overall? Do you believe that, Caleb Williams can hit that 70% this year? Can he do that? I'm wondering. You let me know down below. Leadership comes. You got battles within the camp itself and the dynasty dream all together. So you let me know a little about that down below in the comments. This has been a great update so far. We got 6 more weeks into the kickoff. No sugarcoating, just real and thoughtful football analysts. Yeah, it's been a great time, man. Subscribe for more Bears news, reactions, and more NFL, breakdowns in general. It's been that dude, Mind of Murdock, and this is Mind on Bears. Signing out, baby.